The relationship between media and society has received scholarly attention from a variety of perspectives. Perhaps you've already studied the links between, say, media and education or media and political communication. Or maybe you've thought about what it would mean for higher education if all lectures started being delivered online in a format similar to this one. Mediatization theorizing is one framework through which we can explore the complex relationship between media and society. You're probably asking at this point, what is mediatization? Well, there is yet to be a widely accepted definition of the term, but let's look at three possibilities. Winfried Schultz argues that mediatization is a process of social change associated with communication media, and he identifies four components of the mediatization process. The first is extension, so media extend human communication abilities spatially and temporally. In terms of space, humans can communicate from increasing geographic distances, and in terms of time, humans can receive mediated messages almost instantly. So for example, you can watch live news from China as it happens right here in our communications library. The second is substitution, so media substitute face-to-face social interactions. For example, business meetings that once took place face-to-face in a meeting room now can take place via Skype or Google Hangout. Third, we have amalgamation. So mediated activities amalgamate or come together with non-mediated interactions. For example, you and your friends might watch a funny YouTube video or have the TV on while hanging out in person. The final component of the mediatization process is accommodation. So people, and this is what he says, accommodate to the way the media operate. So that means that people depend on the media, and so they adapt to the media. For example, politicians largely depend on the media for recognition, so they adapt or tailor their campaigns to what messages the media needs. So what is newsworthy or attention-grabbing, or what works well on YouTube? What makes an effective TV commercial? So we can see one conceptualization of mediatization is a process of social change related to media that has four components: extension, substitution, amalgamation, and accommodation. Our second scholar is Friedrich Kratz. He sees mediatization as a long-term, ongoing meta-process of historical developments in which social changes take place as communication media change. He stresses that this meta-process is man-made, so people choose to use new media, and in doing so, it is people that are responsible for these changes. So he says, mediatization changes human communication by offering new possibilities of communication, and in using them, people change the way they communicatively construct their world. So as people use new media, their relations and behaviors change, ultimately changing institutions, organizations, and society itself. Our third and final scholar is Stieg Harvard, who considers mediatization the process whereby society increasingly submits to or becomes dependent on the media. So from his perspective, mediatization is a double-sided process. On one side, mediatization becomes an independent social institution. In that, and I quote, other institutions become dependent on resources that the media control, and they will have to submit to some of the rules the media operate by in order to gain access to those resources. So for example, as the media gain institutional status, the social institution of education must display behaviors and beliefs that adhere to the media. More on this in future lectures. On the other side, media simultaneously become integrated into other social institutions. So for example, the media become an integral part of political behaviors. So in sum, Harvard sees mediatization as a process in which the media simultaneously become an independent institution and become integrated into other social institutions. And it is through this process that society becomes increasingly dependent on the media. So, back to our question of what is mediatization? Well, we can say that is a process because it occurs across time. It's something that happens as people, organizations, and institutions use media, things change, and time passes. But aside from recognizing that mediatization is a process, let's hold off on committing to a definition. Throughout the rest of the course, we'll think about what the mediatization process entails and how it can be applied to a variety of social institutions. Stay tuned.